There we go. We
Sweet.
are live.
We are live.
I shortened up that header up there, but I don't think it'll be in the way of our heads this time.
Hopefully
I don't
not.
remember our last podcast it being in the way of our face, our sections of the string. But
No, I don't think it was.
I'll tinker around a little bit more.
Figure it out as we go.
Every podcast we're tinkering with something, getting better at something. But welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast, everybody. Today we have on someone who shares the same name as me, which is weird because this never happens ever. I've known zero Baileys that were boys until my senior year of college, but he spelled it Baylee. So we're having on Mr. Bailey Boultries today. We're going to talk to him about fishing, which is going to be pretty fun. He just came off of a 7th place finish at the Mississippi River, so we're going to talk to him about that as well. He's down there getting the grind in at the warehouse where he's working down in Alabama, and we're going to get to talking to him in a little bit. But, dude, you had a good weekend. You had a 2nd place finish.
Yeah, and the Dink Lake of Honeyway flip grass for 7 hours and went on little runs of 3 to 4 good bites every couple hours and ended up taking second with just under 13 pounds. Didn't lose any fish for once, so it was a good turn of events. Yeah, we have one left this weekend. Unfortunately, we don't have a shot at Team of the Year unless we win, catch big fish in the Derby, and the top 3 teams just fumble. We have a good shot at second, but not first.
Nice.
So, yeah.
We'll see how you do, but that's got to be a good feeling to fish clean, because that is not nice. How Saturday went for Jeff.
Yeah, you had a tough Derby on Chameau.
Yeah, we were talking to Bailey as well offline here. I called Andy on my way home because we usually kind of call each other after fishing and kind of analyze our day and kind of speak our minds. Yeah, I was very frustrated just because if your fish move or something like that, that's going to happen if tournament fishing. But not fishing clean is one of the biggest things that frustrates me. I think that's I just want that variable to be consistent. And that's what I'm be pleased with, because then I know that I can, finding fish is finding fish. It's either they're there or they're not. And it's obviously very tough to do, but fishing clean is something that you can control for the most part. So that's why I was pretty frustrated. But dude, first 2 days of practice, like we were telling you, we had 24 pounds easy, barely even touching our stuff.
You crushed them.
On Saturday, we were super excited heading into it. We were boat number 1. We head out, make our, a mile and a half run out of Chameau Bay up into Lake Ontario, and the south at 6 that it was the weather was calling for turned into southwest at 15, which meant
it's not good.
Footers. Yeah, it was 6 footers. We got absolutely destroyed, and we couldn't even reach the majority of our spots, which sucked. So we had to go fish new water because, and I don't blame Jeff. He didn't want to break his boat, which I do not blame him whatsoever. So we went and fished new stuff and tried to avoid it because it just wasn't worth it at the time. So with that being said, congrats to my buddy Casey. You won with 23 pounds. Dude, there was only, I think, 2 bags over 20 pounds. Everybody struggled. A lot of 15, 16 pounds for Lake Ontario, which is
bad.
That's very bad.
That's bad, yeah.
Very, very bad. But it is what it is. We got the Erie tournament coming up in a month, less than a month now.
Yeah, less than a month. That one's going to be fun.
Yeah, and you got the Lower Niagara this weekend?
Yep.
That's going to be a blast.
I
don't have anything for 3 weekends.
We might be able to sneak something in here. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
I've taken the Hobie on her maiden voyage tomorrow. So I'm
Where you going?
Don't worry about it.
All right.
I'm probably going to go to Cuco or something. We'll see. I haven't even made up my mind yet. The car is not fully loaded.
Yeah, you better start practicing.
we do have a derby coming up in a little bit over a month, but
yeah,
we can talk a little bit more about what we got coming up after the episode.
Yeah, let's get Bailey on here after we.
Without further ado, the second Bailey, Mr. Bailey Boultries. How we doing, man?
Good, man. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, no problem. So we apologize for our 4-minute rabbit hole. They have.
Yeah.
We warned you that this was going to happen. We go on these tangents and we don't stop talking, which is why we do the podcast, because we can never usually shut up. So this is our way of getting it all out. So, but welcome to the show, dude. We're glad to have you, and we're excited to hear about your story. So, yeah, I know
Yeah,
you said you were grinding away at the warehouse down in Alabama. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, actually, the warehouse is in Springfield, Missouri.
Oh,
But basically, they're my title sponsor for fishing. But in between tournaments, I do all kinds of things. Whether it's here working in the warehouse, helping get some orders out, and also do a lot of the trade show stuff. So whether it's ICAST, Classic, distributor shows, all sorts of stuff. I'll go and set up the booth and help sell the product. All sorts of things. Whatever they need done, they send me all around doing all kinds of cool stuff. So they keep me busy. In between tournaments. I enjoy it. It's a good time.
Yeah, that's important, especially the times we're going through right now. Staying busy is important because if you don't have something to do, you're probably going to go nuts. I can tell you that firsthand. So, but dude, before we get to what's that?
You guys hear me all right?
We can hear you.
It's kind of y'all are lagging just a little bit.
Wait, are you lagging? So here's what you should. Let me try to remove you and re-add you again. You having issues now? Can you hear us okay? All good?
No, I'm still having a little bit of issues.
So here's what I'll have you do. Just leave the broadcast and then re-enter.
Join right back in.
And then we'll get you back in and get rolling. Man, we're doing so good offline. You sound perfectly clear.
Live streams, they always do something funny.
Right? It seems like as soon as you click that go live button, something goes wrong. But for those watching, submit some of your guys' questions, whether for Andy and I or for Bailey as well. We're going to talk a little bit with Bailey about the FLW schedule that was released and some of his plans for next year. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about tonight, but should be a blast nonetheless. But dude, we forgot to mention. So especially Derby, I was fishing was the Douglas Rods Big Money Open, and it was a successful event. They did great. You know, they're still new with the tournament trail, so they had some hiccups, but they adjusted well. They adjusted quickly, and they're doing good. They have some more adjustments to make for Erie, so it's gonna be pretty exciting to see what they can do then. And it's gonna be a well put on event. But huge shout out to Douglas Outdoors for the support.
And congrats to Douglas Outdoors too for actually now being on Tackle Warehouse, so you can get all of your Douglas rods at Tackle Warehouse, or if you're local in Buffalo, make sure you stop into Captain Bob's, give the old Hawk a visit. I'm sure he'll talk your ear off about something. He's a great dude.
He is the man. I was talking to Hawk today on the phone, and he's excited for us to head to Erie, so that should be a blast.
Absolutely.
Tackle Warehouse is big, man. That's power move by Douglas. Good job to Kevin over there making that happen. We have Douglas is growing fast, man. Douglas is on the rise, which is cool to see, and more brand recognition and people actually getting the product in their hands, and it's pretty cool to watch where it came from just 6 months ago.
Absolutely.
So, all right, he's back in.
Sweet.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sounds better. Sounds a lot better, actually.
All right, cool. Right now it's working, so let's fingers crossed it keeps working.
Perfect.
So don't touch any buttons. None of us. Yeah. So, dude, before we lagged out here, we were going to ask you, what's that first story like, that first bass catch? Who got you into fishing? We want to hear the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so basically I started out fishing when I was itty bitty. Don't remember my first cast, but it was grew up saltwater fishing predominantly. So catching redfish, speckled trout, flounder, anything that you can catch in Mobile Bay. That's what we were trying to catch growing up. And then I think beginning of middle school, I moved up to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and that's where I began freshwater fishing. I was taken out by a guy named Scott Jackson. He took me crappie fishing, actually. We were catching crappie, having a great time. And then I knew he was a tournament angler, and we were catching bass here and there on live bait. And I was like, hey, man, I want to go.
Oh, boy. For those who are not watching, his stream just completely dropped out. Somebody must have turned off the Wi-Fi at work.
Either Wi-Fi or his MacBook died. It's going to be one of the two.
about that because he is using a MacBook. This might be a long episode today.
Rabbit hole. So, back to the Douglas Derby.
The Douglas Rod Rabbit Hole. That's what we named it. Yeah. Your Serious Angler Rabbit Hole, sponsored by Douglas Rods.
So, the little shameless plug here. Caught all of my fish this weekend on my favorite rod, the 755 DXC.
You don't like that rod.
No.
You hate that rod.
No, I hate it. It's the worst.
Dude, I gotta put in order with Queen Tackle because I told you last time I gotta restock on some of my drop shot weights. But I'm gonna try some different things. Not Douglas. Queen now has a finesse football jig, which is going to come in handy this fall because they also make some Gobi colors. I know I probably shouldn't expose that, but we got to tell the folks about it. And if guys,
they make a half ouncer, you need to get them to make a half ouncer.
I know.
World of difference.
I will call Jeff. But yeah, guys, you can use code SeriousAngler20 if you want to get 20% off of that. You can save yourself some moolah on your order. But Bailey is now back in. Let's get him in here. I think you were right, Andy? Did the MacBook die?
No, it kept kicking me out. So I hopped on my phone. So I don't know if this is gonna work or not. I don't know if it's my signal or what it is. But
it actually sounds really clear. Yeah, it's super clear now.
You could probably actually put it on the horizontal and lay your phone sideways. That might work a little bit better.
About that right.
Perfect.
There.
Oh, there we go.
Legit.
Nice. Clutch moves.
All right, cool. Trying to figure this out on my phone. It's a little bit different. So I'm trying to get it out. Can y'all still hear me?
Yep. So now, are you an iPhone user or an Android user?
Oh, that's an iPhone camera, without a doubt.
iPhone all day.
So if somebody FaceTimes you and you decline it, the audio is going to drop. So you're going to have to close out and come back in again, just so you're aware.
You speak from experience.
Hopefully nobody FaceTimes me.
The one podcast, I forgot who it was with. Oh, it was with Garrett Paquette, and my wife's best friend FaceTimed. I had to decline it, and I lost audio for like the last 10 minutes. I was like, yep, just rolling with the punches here. I couldn't hear anything.
So, dude, you were talking about one of your friends that was into tournament fishing, middle school. You can kind of pick up there where you're talking about kind of how you got into, bass fishing 100%.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. That last
no, you're fine. I think what you left off on was when you were in middle school and you started really getting serious into bass fishing and tournament fishing.
Yeah. So the guy that was taking me crappie fishing, he was a big tournament angler. He's won some tournaments, really good angler. And we were catching bass while we were crappie fishing. I was like, hey, look, I really want to do some bass fishing, and at that time I was watching it on TV. So I knew a little bit about it, but really never got to experience. So we went out on the Black Warrior River in Tuscaloosa, and I won't ever forget it. I was throwing a June bug lizard, and I just fired it right in the middle of this little cut, and I caught about a 3.5-pound spotted bass. And so ever since then, man, I've just been hooked. Really, I was a big saltwater angler, but now just catching that one bass, I still enjoy doing saltwater fishing for fun, but if I had to choose one over the other, I'm definitely going bass fishing for sure.
Yeah.
But that fight of that spotted bass on a spinning rod that did it in for me for sure. That was fun.
So what if you found that fight's harder, a spotted bass or a smallmouth?
You say spot or smallmouth?
Yeah.
Probably a smallmouth. I think a smallmouth's gonna win that one. Smallmouths, they fight. I can get a spot in pretty quickly, I think. I mean, not as quick as a largemouth, but largemouths are sissies. But I think smallmouth's gonna fight a little bit harder.
It's awesome.
That's funny. So what's your home lake,
and
dude?
You can hook into you can hook into a 10-pound largemouth and you can get it in quicker than catching a 4-pound smallmouth.
Oh, hands down.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, there's also a big difference between 65-pound braid and 8-pound fluorocarbon.
Or 6 pounds.
That is true. I agree. Yeah, 6 pounds. I agree.
So being in Alabama, what's your home lake?
So I grew up on the Mobile Bay, which is also just right north of the bay is the Mobile Delta. So tidal water fishery. We got like 5 different rivers that run through there. So we got a massive delta, ton of water. It can be a very tough place to fish, but it's one of my favorite places to fish. I really wish we would have an event down there. A lot of people would not be happy about it probably just because how tough it can be. But it's a fun place to fish. You can have 100 fish days easy, down there cranking some points or just throwing a rattle trap in some little cuts. But it can also, you can go out there and get one bite, fishing all day. So one of those places. And you can go out there. I mean, you can go to one spot where a school is just absolutely loaded up, and you go there next day and they're just absolutely gone. Which that's kind of same for everywhere, but it's like it just dries up, and you won't ever find those fish again. They're miles down the river probably. But
yeah. So what was your first tournament? Like what talk to us about when you started fishing tournaments and then the timeline to where you are now on the FLW Pro Circuit.
Yes. So when I was 15, there was this local bass club that let me start fishing with them as a co-angler. Technically, they weren't allowed to. You're supposed to be at least 16 years old, but they let me do it anyways, thankfully, because that kind of really fueled the fire for me, them letting me get out there and do that. And I learned a lot from those guys. Those are the guys that some of them, they could have been professional anglers, some of the best in the world, but, just maybe never had the opportunity or the desire or the money to do it. But learned a lot from them and took a lot, moved forward with that. And then when I turned 16, as soon as I turned 16 on March 17th, I signed up for a BFL event in Alabama, and then I signed up for a Bassmaster Open on Lake Seminole later that year in October. So the event and the BFL event in Alabama, I think I got a top 20 finish. This is as a co-angler now. Got a check, super stoked, first really big tournament, that I would consider big tournament compared to what I've been fishing before. And took that, and just between then and that open, I'm just soaking up as much information as I can, videos, articles, everything every big bass fisherman does, trying to take in as much as they can to learn. But then that open is what really lit the fire for me, and then kind of seen what I could do or thought I could do. I got a second place finish. I was actually leading it going into the last day, and that was just at 16 years old, won like $6,000. Could have won a brand new boat. That's a long story. I met some great guys at that event. Michael Neal, Drew Cook, and still talk to those guys today and still learning from them. But that last day at Lake Seminole in that open, I didn't at the event. I ended up not weighing in a fish on that last day. But it was 30 minutes before we had to go to check in. I flipped into a mat. I'm fishing with Kelly J, and he's like skipping every 5 feet. I feel like he's trying to let me get one. I think he had a limit. He really wanted me to catch a fish because that's really what I needed was one fish to win the deal. And I leaned back, set the hook, man, brought like a 5-6 pounder out the mat, coming to the boat, gets right to the boat, jumps one time, and comes off. And for years, I've cried about that fish coming off, but I feel like that fish was supposed to come off. Felt like I would have went a totally different direction than where I am right now if I would have won that event. So I'm kind of thankful I didn't catch that fish, but still would have been a cool thing to win that Bass Open at 16. But I was happy with second place too. Got a cool little trophy I still hang on to. Look at it every now and then.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, with tournament fishing, right? When it's over, it's over. There's nothing you can do to change it. So at that point, you can't really sulk. I mean, obviously you hear about these guys. They say, all right, you're going to have a day to be pissed about it, and then you got to bounce back, refocus, and move forward. And it's so important to kind of just take it. Maybe you can be mad about it, but take time to kind of analyze it, see what you did wrong, what you could do better, and use that as motivation to get better moving forward, not make those same mistakes again. So, like, as an angler, obviously on the pro circuit, you know, not everybody's going to have a day where you go out and you fish clean 100%. So, like, when you have a bad day on the water, you know, are there any steps that you take to try to make sure you're not making the same mistakes again moving forward? And how do you kind of like analyze your day?
Honestly, it's something that I got a whole list of mental notes in my head, and I can think back to several things just throughout the year that I'm like, you know, if I would have used this pound test line, or I just would have made this one cast, or, you know, would have made this one decision if I would have fished this hole instead of this hole, or instead of fishing them 20 brush piles, I should have went and fished that rock bank, you know. I mean, just so many things that it really just comes down to making the best decision throughout the day. And it just comes with time on the water, learning what those right decisions are pretty much. But like you said, if you have a bad tournament, it's one of the things you just you got to suck it up, put it behind you, learn from it, realize what you did wrong. Look back. I'll go back and watch all the live coverage. And that takes hours, but that's one of the best ways to learn. Especially, I'm able to learn a lot because I was there. I was fishing every day. I know the conditions. I know how I was fishing. I know the cover I was fishing. And you kind of go back and you look at that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally missed a bus, or I was so close. If I would have been fishing this bait, you know, maybe shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know, type thing. But that live coverage going back, that's probably one of my biggest learning tools, is if I sucked it up, or even if I did good, I'll still go back and watch it and try to learn how other guys were catching them, because it's amazing. You'll go back and you caught fish one way, like that Mississippi River tournament a few months ago that I did well in. Went back and looked at how other guys were catching them, and some of them were just catching them completely different ways. So that kind of shows you go out there, you need to keep an open mind and not get stuck on one thing, and then know that there's a lot of different ways to catch fish on a body of water, and you just gonna need to figure out one, and hopefully you can figure out several different ways. But, you know, just gotta always keep an open mind when out there on any body of water. Even on the Mississippi River, there was guys, I think David Walker caught. I know David Walker and Cody Meyer made top 10 there on the Mississippi River, and I'm pretty sure they were smallmouth fishing majority of the time. You know, and everybody was catching, pretty much everybody was catching largemouth, doing different things, but, you know, you never know.
Yeah.
And I think you have to credit that to most people. You have to just fish your strength, even though you know this body of water is really good for one technique. But if you go in with the mindset, I'm going to fish my strength and figure out how to catch them the way I like to fish, you're actually going to be better off than trying to do something off the wall that you're not accustomed to doing. So it's more of a confidence thing, I would say, too, right? So as you're going, the more confidence you have and the more you break down the water, the better off you're going to be, probably.
Absolutely. Confidence is definitely the biggest thing. It's so
Big
hard.
leg.
Like, if you go somewhere and, like, you know you can catch fish on a frog. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah. Kind of cutting it out, but you're good. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear him, Bailey?
All right.
Cool. I can hear him.
Well, all right, cool. So what I was saying is it's so tough. You go to a place where maybe it has a lot of grass. You're like, man, I really want to frog fish. I'm a big frog fisherman. I like throwing a frog. I like throwing a buzz bait. Those are my two favorite baits to throw. And then, you know, the guys are probably catching them out deep on a drop shot or something crazy. It's so hard to put those baits down. But in order to be, say, if you want to win Angler of the Year or you want to be the best guy, get a check at every tournament, you need to learn how to put that bait down and pick up that drop shot and go do whatever and hit it. It's not always the most fun thing to do, but I always go into an event and try to fish my strength, whatever that may be, whatever baits, whatever type of cover. I may try to figure out, see if I can catch fish that way. The first 2 days, catch 5 fish first day, 5 on the second day, and hope for that. But if that's not working out throughout practice, you know, after a day and a half of trying to do my own thing, then I start, venturing out of baits I may not normally throw day in, day out, but still pick it up and know that guys are probably catching fish on it. But definitely,
Or
I
it's
think
something that you've caught them on too.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But
you always have to have almost like a plan A, B, C, D, and hopefully you don't have to get to E. So
yeah,
I know,
absolutely. And most of the
I
times
love,
you have A through Z. So
yeah, that is true. But it's like once you get to E, it's like, oh boy, the wheels are coming off. What do I do next? Do I jump to G or X? So,
and I can go through A through Z really quick because I can put 26 rods in my boat very easily. So
it's a lot of rods.
Quick.
I feel
Yeah. It's no fun when you got.
You there?
Oh, you kind of cut out there again. What was that? Yep, I can hear you now. What were you saying there? You kind of cut out a little.
I got you. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
A little bit. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
A little bit. I feel like we're on the Verizon commercial right now. How about now?
Can you hear me now?
It's good stuff.
He's on
I'm
the
going to
move.
try to go outside.
All right. Sometimes warehouses don't have the best reception with all that metal and steel.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see if you guys can hear me now. Or if it works a little bit better.
I think we're rolling. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you guys now. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you.
It looks like it just rained.
Right. Yeah,
it looks like you guys did get a
today.
rain.
We haven't had rain in forever. It downpoured. Actually, it didn't rain today. It rained yesterday. It downpoured yesterday and through the night, and it was much needed.
That's good. I was gonna say the grass looks pretty lush
too. We've been needing this all day.
Yeah, I can't wait for the cold to hit here.
To die off now, but it's like
nice. So I wanted to bring up that point you made about live coverage, and I think that's a pretty cool, obviously, resource for anglers. But I think it's a cool argument for those that kind of take the learning aspect seriously. There's a lot of guys that appreciate, like a Bass Live or an MLF, where you see guys struggle versus a slugfest, because I think you can take a lot more information from a grinder than you can from a slugfest, because you see how these guys make decisions. You see how they try to adjust their fishing styles for a grinder when a bite is much tougher than when they're going to hit anything that's swimming through the water column. It doesn't matter what freaking color, size, shape, whatever it might be, they're going to eat it. You don't learn anything from that other than just cast and you're going to have a fish on. It's, the grinder, you'd see these guys make adjustments, make decisions. So I think you make a really good point, though, with that live coverage, how you can actually take a lot of information from that besides just fish catches. If you actually pay attention to it, pay attention to the details, you can learn a lot about what guys do, in that important time which is decision making. So I thought that was a really good point.
Yeah, with the live coverage too, I think, like you were just kind of saying, you got to pay attention to the details. You can easily get on there and just watch people catch fish, but a lot of times I'm like these guys I'm fishing against. I'm blessed to be. I'm fishing against some of the best guys there is. I'm fishing out there. John Cock from this year with the Super Term. Jacob Wheeler's out there. So these guys know a lot more than me. So I'm learning from these guys day in, day out. I'm paying attention not only what bait they were throwing or color, but what rod were they throwing it on? Were they throwing a spinning rod, casting rod, size line? How are they working the bait? What type of cover? I mean, I'm looking at every single detail and just making notes of it and trying to hopefully one day be able to put all that together and, win one of these dang tournaments. But it's definitely, if you really want to learn, it's one of the best ways to learn. Whether it's Bass, MLF, or FLW, it doesn't matter, because we're all out there catching bass, and these guys that are doing good in the tournament, they're making the best decisions that week, and you can definitely learn from those decisions they're making and the baits, line, whole deal that they're using for sure. Definitely a tool that if you're wanting to be a better bass angler, it's worth putting the time in and watching. And it's a lot of time too, because you may have 8 hours of coverage most days. One days 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's a lot of time. But whether you're sitting there at night, nothing to do, or instead of going out partying on a Friday night, sit in your room and soak up some live coverage and try to learn from it.
Without a doubt, yeah, that's great. Great point.
And that's what I was doing growing up. Trying to getting past where I even am now. I'm blessed to be able on FLW Pro Circuit, but I want to keep going up. I want to be one of the top anglers. I want to win Angler of the Year. And so instead of going out partying Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like everybody else my age, I'm out fishing, reading. I mean, every little thing I can do, I think I can do to get better. I'm still doing it, and that's what I've been doing since I was 15 when I knew I wanted to do this. So it's just, you got to put the time in.
Heck yeah, dude.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, that being said, and you're talking about, each season, talking about 2021, we touched it briefly offline talking with you, but with the FLW schedule out, what do you have any plans coming up for 2021 and where you want to fish, or maybe any lakes that you're kind of excited for on schedule, anything along those lines?
Yeah, so right now it's still up in the air where I'm going to be next year fishing. I really, right now, I just want to flip a coin to choose, because it's either going to be the Bass Opens or the FLW Pro Circuit, and possibly could be both if I can somehow land another nice sponsorship deal to make that possible, make it feasible. It's definitely something I'm looking at and trying to accomplish and make happen, because that would be awesome to be able to have. That's like 14. That'd be 14 tournaments next year, which would be a lot of time on the road and a lot of money. But if I could do both, that's what I plan to do. But if not, I'm going to have to flip a coin to choose which way I want to go. But if I do go to that FLW Pro Circuit, the schedule's like calling my name. I mean, they're going to Okeechobee, Lake Eufaula, Smith Lake. I can't remember the other one. Maybe Hartwell. I can't remember the whole schedule, but there were several on there that were like.
It's basically a full bore East Coast schedule, is how I look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect, especially with 2 of them in Alabama. It was like not a whole lot of traveling between 5. I think the last one's St. Lawrence River, so a little bit of traveling on that one. But the first 5, it's like very just, one little area of the country, which makes it easy to travel and less money to fish them. But
how do you feel about coming north?
What's that?
So how do you feel about when you see the northern swing on your schedule? Does that what are your thoughts?
When I see those, man, I go into it like I want to do good, but I'm going here to learn. I don't ever like to say I'm gonna go get my butt kicked, because I want to go into every tournament wanting to win, wanting to do good. But I know that's not my strength. So when I go into those events, I'm out there trying to learn, playing around, trying to find something different. But I don't know. I just try to be real with myself, and I know I got a lot to learn on the northern swings for sure, which kind of sucks. I see guys from around my house, like you got Brock Mosley, this is in Mississippi, Bradley Dortch is down close to my house. He's on the FLW Pro Circuit. When they go up north, man, they catch them. I just suck up there. Them smallmouth, I don't understand them yet, so I got a lot to learn from them little things. But we'll get it together one of these days for smallmouth.
No doubt.
But I would not complain one bit if I never had to fish a tournament for smallmouth. I wouldn't complain one bit.
Well, I mean, on these smallmouth fisheries, though, there are good largemouth to be caught.
Yeah, but the thing is, them things will bite you. Like on Erie, I was trying to do that largemouth deal, and I was on a pretty solid pattern, and it wasn't nothing special, but I was just cranking rocks with a square bill, and there ended up being more guys doing it than I anticipated. I thought a lot of guys were going to be making a run and doing smallmouth fishing, but I started running into guys doing the exact thing I was, which was burning up my fish pretty much. So essentially I ran out of fish. But
interesting.
But like in practice, they were biting that square bill pretty good. So I was catching big largemouth on area. I mean, 3, 4, 5 pounders.
That's fun.
That is a lot of fun.
And I even went flipping some docks and caught some. And I wasn't in there just snatch on every fish. I was getting bit on flipping, but square bill, it's hard not to hook them. I mean, you can't take hooks off of a square bill, but definitely them smallmouth places, smallmouth places where people go. There's some big largemouth there to be caught.
Sweet. Andy, you got anything for Bailey before we get into our closing segment?
Oh, I mean, my big question is how much different was it when they announced the super tournament schedule in the middle of the COVID crisis, and all of a sudden you have all of these elite anglers joining the field ranks of the FLW? Yes, there are really good anglers in the FLW, but I'm sure it kind of was a shock, but it was also excitement because now you're like, I get to go head to head with these guys and really see how good I compare, how well I compare with them. So I just want to know your thought process on that, because I know when I saw it as announced, I was like, I feel bad for the FLW guys, but I'm also like, I wonder how they're going to be able to compete against these guys.
Right. So at the beginning, I was like, bring them on, come on, let's go. This is awesome. You know, like I want to be fishing against these guys. These guys I've looked up to, so I was like, let's do this thing, you know.
Yeah.
Then come Chickamauga, we get out there and practice, and then there's extra 60 boats on the lake, 200 boat field, and every place you try to run to, there's an MLF guy sitting on it and an FLW guy sitting on it. So, like, there's extra fish getting caught throughout the week. 200 boats in a tournament, it's a lot, and it actually changes a lot more than what you would think when it just comes to fishing spots. And the thing that sucked about it really was, like, I wasn't really doing good in points come Chickamauga tournament. I done had 2 bad tournaments at that point. But if you got a guy that's sitting really good in points and he's just got one hole, he's like, I found this hole, you know, hopefully nobody else found it. He rolls up there. The only other guy that found it was an MLF guy. Well, what if that MLF guy wasn't in that tournament like he wasn't supposed to be, and that FLW guy would have had that hold himself? And, you know, no telling what that might have done for him. He would have got more money possibly, would have had more points, made the championship. I mean, so it definitely affected the outcome of the year, I think, for several FLW guys. And even through that, I was like, cool, still want to fish against them, whatever. But when it came to the Mississippi River tournament, it hit me. And so I felt it really hurt me because the first day I caught my fish on a spot in the afternoon, and I rolled in that spot second day morning, thinking I was going to have it all myself. I roll up on it, and Zach Burgess sitting on it, and I watched him catch 16 pounds in 30 minutes off my spot, you know, that I found that I thought I had myself, you know. And so that really bit me. So I was like, I was really planning on, I could have caught a limit that day. I'm not saying I would have caught 16 pounds, but I definitely would have, I would have caught some fish there. But I would have caught fish there day 2 and possibly a limit on day 3. I would have been able to save the rest of my fish for day 4. So who knows what could have possibly been if MLF guys weren't in that tournament. So it definitely affected the outcome for me. And then also, I got a 7th place finish. There was 4 guys, MLF guys, that finished in front of me. So I would have got a 3rd place finish, which would have gave me $6,000 more dollars, and also probably 16 hours more of live coverage possibly. So when you start looking at it from that aspect, it definitely had effects on FLW guys. But other than that, it was just like, it would have been better to know if they would have just done that at the beginning of the year, which we didn't know COVID was going to hit. Kind of had to scramble, make happen what you can make happen, and just be thankful you were able to fish. But just the aspect of it affecting the outcome for guys definitely wasn't cool. I didn't, I'm not going to say I didn't like it, but, it is what it is. But I think you would have seen a lot of different turnout, without that extra 56 boats.
Right.
Tournaments. So
I think it would have definitely helped you guys a lot more if you knew that prior to going into the season that these guys would be joining you, rather than just dropping a bombshell, during COVID. I mean, I'm sure you guys had a positive outlook regardless, just as you mentioned, but I'm sure it had to be quite the adjustment for your season, knowing that they were going to be joining you. So it had to be a difficult task, but it seemed like the majority of you guys adjusted to it well. So that's good.
Yep. It was one of those things. It is what it is, and make the best of it. And, move on, see what we're going to do next year,
Without a doubt. Andy, you got anything else for Bailey?
I mean, I appreciate the honest answer to that one. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
So now here comes the home run question. So I hope you're ready for it. I don't know if you've listened to any other podcasts of ours, but this one is a doozy, and you have to be snappy on it, but also think about it a little bit.
All right.
I'll let Bailey take the reins here because it's his favorite question to ask. Yes.
Okay. I was going to let you have the honors, but I'll take it if you're not going to take it.
Go ahead, man. I like it when you ask it.
All right. So here's the question we're gonna leave you with here. Okay. So if you could sit down, have a steak and a beer with 3 different people, whether they're past or present, they don't have to be alive, they don't have to be fishing industry. Who would you want? Yeah, anybody at all. Who would you want to sit down with, have a steak and a beer, and pick their brain? What 3 people would you choose?
And why?
That's true, and the why.
And the why?
And the why.
Man, that's tough. I'd put me on the spot with that.
It gets everyone.
We're not allowed to. You can't do your research.
Man, y'all need to let me get back with you in 48 hours on that one.
Nope. Right now, that's why I said you got to think about it, but also be snappy because we got it comes right at you with the heat. So
yeah. So I'm gonna have to go. One of them, I'm gonna have to go with a fishing industry guy, an angler, and I'm probably gonna have to go. Probably Kevin Van Dam. Mainly because he knows the industry, he knows the business side of things, and he's also a great angler. So I could pick his brain on both aspects of things, sponsorship side of stuff, and just the whole business side of the fishing industry, which is very important as being a professional angler. You got to know that side. You got to understand how to work that side, and that's very important. And he's one of the best anglers ever. So definitely pick his brain on stuff about fishing. Man, 2 more.
I always love these responses. They're the best. It's always like the same response. It's like, good gosh.
I'm trying to think of somebody, man, outside the fishing industry. What else do I care about?
It could be anyone back to like BC age of the world. Yeah, like you can
sports, anything.
You have hundreds of years of reference that you can pinpoint here.
Hundreds of years. Probably Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart.
Yes.
That'd be a fun one.
He's one of my favorite actresses or comedians, whatever you want to call them. I guess he wouldn't be an actress. He would be an actor.
I was about to say we got an actress. I feel like he paid like a woman in some film somewhere, just like joking around. So, I mean, you could possibly promote him as an actress at some point.
Probably him, just because he's funny, and I think he'd be a cool guy to hang out with. He'd have some cool stories after that one. But that one's not that cool. But number 3, man. I'm trying to think of somebody to get some good life advice from, business advice. Probably. Man, y'all shouldn't have done this one to me.
We do this to everybody new coming on the show.
So if you come on again, you won't get it a second time.
Okay.
So.
All right. Cool. Man. See, I'm not that interesting, man. I'm just fishing, So
you don't have to be interesting. This is like some deep, dark, like truth who you just want to talk to. Share beer, have some steak.
All right, how about this? We'll change it up for you. We'll change it up for you. Your last answer: who would you choose to bring along that can you'll know that you'll have a good time, like hanging out with? Like if you want to have a good time, who is the first person that you're calling?
First person I'm calling. Probably Gerald Swindle.
That seems to be a common answer.
That is a very common answer.
that was the easy answer, but golly, I'm just gonna have to stick with a fishing answer for now. But I've never personally met him, but that's probably one of the biggest anglers I look up to, and I try to learn from and take a lot from. So if I could ever have a day where I could go hang out with Gerald Splendor or have a day in the boat with him, that's probably one of the biggest things that I would love, So hopefully one day that'll happen. But yeah, definitely Gerald Splendor. For sure.
Heck yeah, dude. I like that answer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Bailey, do you have anything else you'd like to, announce or share with the viewers and listeners before we head off here tonight?
No, man, I think I'm good. I want to apologize for the terrible self-service, though. That was kind of a bummer.
It happens.
I think I got it figured out with my phone here, trying to make the best of it outside. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on. Had a great time. Hopefully, you guys have me back on one day, and don't hit me with a hard question there at the end.
We'll come up with another one.
Yeah. Next time, give me 24 hours to prepare on something like that.
Never.
Where's the fun in that?
I'll write you a 5-page essay, if you give me 24 hours.
We're getting you ready for those MLF cups where you're going to have no idea where you're going to fish. We're putting you right on the spot. We're mentally preparing.
I'd be okay with that. That's a little bit easier, in my opinion, just telling me a random question about somebody I want to go bring back to life, possibly. And have to stay here with.
Well, I mean, you don't have to bring them back to life. You can go like afterlife party with them in 80 years, hopefully. Like, it could be anything.
Right.
We've had some people say they want to get rowdy with Albert Einstein.
I'm pretty sure Albert was one of my answers.
Probably was.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd want to be hanging out with him.
We've gotten like Elon Musk. We've gotten a whole bunch of them, so it's cool. But
I mean,
dude, we appreciate you.
All that
What's
stuff
that?
they figured out back on in the day, man. There's no telling what they were doing to figure out all that stuff. So I don't know if I want
That's true.
and all that.
Well, dude, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you taking the time, and we're definitely gonna have you on again down the road. And it should be a blast. Hope you have a good fall. Hope you have a good hunting season. I know we were talking about that offline, and we'll keep in touch. But we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show.
Yeah, heck yeah, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks again, and hope you guys have a great night.
Yeah,
Thank
you too.
Take care.
All right, man.
Bye. Dude, that was a blast. That was good.
Dang Wi-Fi coverage. So
yeah, it's not our first rodeo, but we made the adjustments. We did well. So that was good. But big shout out to Bailey. Thank you for coming on.
Yes,
thank you for giving me some reassurance that I'm not the only dude in planet Earth with the name Bailey spelled
Ley.
Yeah, literally, that's the only other Bailey that's a dude that I've ever come in contact with.
Now I have to find every other Bailey out there that has the same spelling that fishes and just bring them all on the podcast, like back to back. Like,
that'd be overwhelming. That'd be like a movie. That's like the Minion movie. It's
yes, Despicable Me.
Good grief, yeah. Good gosh, but dude, we got some cool stuff coming up. Some cool episodes with some pretty awesome people coming on, and we're really looking forward to it because we're making some strides with this show, and it's
absolutely
cool advancements. And every now and then the show, every now and then I should say every podcast we have some sort of hiccup here and there, but that's part of it. It's part of learning. So we appreciate everybody who comes back and returns to view and to listen. So we appreciate all of you and your support, without a doubt. If you would like to support further, we do have some apparel. If anybody would rock some apparel, and you can tag us in photos, we'll post it to social media. So we appreciate that down in the description. You can check out all the links down below if you guys would like to support any of our sponsors that support us. But we do appreciate each and every one of you. And keep coming on the live streams. Keep submitting some questions. We really do appreciate it because, it's less work that we have to do coming up with questions. When you guys do them, it's awesome for us. We'd like to see your guys' input as well. So, but dude, that was fun. That was a blessing. Anything coming up that you want to talk about?
Actually, not really. Just the lower this weekend. The forecast is looking a little more favorable, and I'm going to be able to fish the way I like to fish for smallmouth. So it's going to be fun, and I just hope they're playing. So, you know how brown fish are.
Yeah.
Here one day, gone the next, and
exactly.
West New York has got a cool little rule. No matter where the Club Classic is, as soon as the Club Classic is announced, you are not allowed to pre-fish for it. So there's zero pre-fishing, equal playing field right up to the tournament. So, like, let's say if it ended up being on, like, Keuka or Seneca or Sodus Bay, nobody can pre-fish for it. It's cut off the moment that it's announced.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it makes it interesting.
That would put a damper on our tournament.
Well, I mean, it's Saturday, so after Saturday it would have been fine. I could have went back Sunday and practiced. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, never mind. Well, there you go.
So,
great.
Yeah.
Well, dude, good luck. Obviously, we talk every day, so we'll see how you do, but it should be a blast for you.
Absolutely. And a little shameless plug here for West New York Bassmasters. It's a team trail in Buffalo. Next year, we're hoping to average 25 boats per tournament, which it looks like we're going to be able to do that. And we'll be able to send a team, hopefully, to the Bassmaster Regional Team Tournament, wherever that is. So that's the lofty goal of the club. We went from, I think, 6 boats on average last year. The year before that, 6 to 7, and this year we're averaging around 13 to 17. Justin and Chris have done a really good job since I stepped down as president when I found out my daughter was on the way. So they've really done a great job at turning the club around and making it something very prosperous and great. So kudos to those guys.
So what you're telling me is you should step down as co-host so the show can do even better.
Yes, exactly.
See you later, Andy.
To their credit, though, I did decide to conduct a vote in the club to make it change to a team trail because I feel like that's where a lot of like club derbies and open derbies are going to. You lose a lot of boat or co-anglers because they want to fish with their friends. They don't want a random draw. So I feel like that's ultimately like the stepping stone, and I was able to turn that before I eventually had to step down because I just wasn't going to be able to put the time into it. So this year was my first year back after winning Angler of the Year my last year in the club before stepping down. This is my first year back, and the club is just exponentially better than it was when I left. The talent there, we have a couple a couple college teams fishing in it, and I think they're like first or second and third in points out of 18 or 19 teams. So it's good. A lot of competition.
Great to see.
Yeah, it's fun.
Cool, dude. We're gonna wrap it up there. If anybody has any questions, any guest requests whatsoever, you guys can reach out to us on our personal social medias or the Serious Angler social media.
Absolutely. Buy some queen tackle. Bailey said there's some finesse jigs on there. Don't buy them.
As he shakes his head, yeah. So, yeah, guys, go browse the links down below. Appreciate everybody for watching and listening. We'll see you guys on the next podcast.
Have a good night.